Hello all, in the previous video we have talked about one of the classification of machine learning, right, which was supervised learning. In this video we will talk about unsupervised learning. So what do you mean by unsupervised learning? So in supervised learning we had a data which was trained already, and we already know the output. uh, so the algorithm was very simple, right? Now in unsupervised learning, the data that is given to the algorithm is a raw data. So what do you mean by raw data? Raw data means there aren't any labels associated with it, and algorithm has to find out by itself what are the features inside that, how the data is looking like, and based on the similarities that are there, the differences between the data that is there, it has to divide the data into various categories, or we call it clusters. So a very typical problem, right? So that's why a unsupervised learning task looks almost similar like how humans interpret a new data that is given to them. So they try to read the data and analyze it, right? It's almost similar to it. It's a very complex algorithm compared to supervised learning. Now, what do we do in unsupervised learning? So we do two types of things. One is clustering and second one is association. So what do you mean by clustering? What do you mean by association? So clustering is something where the algorithm does a kind of data mining. So what does this do was, when a data is input, it finds out the differences or and similarities between the data and divides the data into clusters. That's what it does. So basically, before doing all this, the data, as we said, it's always a raw data, and initially it is interpreted before giving it to the algorithm and dividing the data into the clusters. So that's the entire process that the unsupervised learning takes. And then there's something called association. Um, Association is basically finding out the relationship between various items that is present in the data. A very straightforward thing, right? And there's one more called decomposition. Decomposition is again as a simple term. It is breaking down into different categories, right? A very straightforward again there. So the terms look straightforward, but the algorithms looks very complex. Now, there are several algorithms that are associated with unsupervised learning. Basically, the neural networks that we talk, and a priori algorithm, K means clustering, and KNN algorithm. All these fall under unsupervised learning algorithms. We'll talk about these in the future videos. So, one thing is sure, unsupervised learning is a complex algorithm, and basically it involves acting upon a data which is never labeled, and one of the uh, biggest AI problems which need to be solved, and which is very close to human thought process.